So hello and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now it's time for another movie review today. It's exciting because I said I was going to do this like a week ago when I done my Tomb Raider review. I saw like 3-4 films in a row, but it's taken me ages to get around to doing the second one because I got my Star Wars: The Last Jedi and my Disaster Artist Blu-ray in the post, so I wanted to show them off. But anyway, we're finally back with the next review, and today we're going to go over the second film I saw last week out of the 4, and that was Ready Player One. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about the story, the characters, the acting, the directing, the visuals, and then I'm going to give it a mark out of 10. We're going to keep it pretty simple, try and keep it quick. So yeah, Ready Player One, really exciting film, new Spielberg film, of course. Always exciting when Spielberg puts a new film out. So the story of this film, again, spoilers. Put that out there as well. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Then come watch me. So it's got a unique story to it, which was the main attraction because the trailers didn't really sell me. But when I heard the idea of them going into a virtual reality world, I thought that was quite unique. A really good story. So they put the headset on. They go into this ultimate gaming world, which of course eventually will probably be the next thing that comes out in real life. It probably is a look into what's to come. So come on, Sony, get your boots on. And everything in that gaming world was really fun in terms of story. I thought it was really well written, really well... again, I don't want to get into the directing just yet, but it was really well told. You understood why characters were going to certain games, why they were going into certain films, because there's a little film bit in there as well where they go into The Shining and they recreate a lot of The Shining stuff, which was amazingly well done. It was incredible. I was so shocked with how well they'd done it. But when they were in the game, it really felt like a game, especially at the start when they were doing the car chase and King Kong shows up and there's also a T-Rex at one point. It was just fantastic. The characters felt more interesting in the game, that's for sure. Probably because you spend a lot more time with them in the game. The end fight was fantastic. All the references in the end fight, like the big shield, of course, from Harry Potter, and then Chucky popped up, the Iron Giant popped up, Mechagodzilla popped up, which was amazing. So many cool things happening in that end fight scene. Most of the real world stuff was alright. I felt like they didn't spend near enough time in the real world. But then again, the film would have been really long if they'd spent more time there, because the film was already 2.5 hours long. There were things in the real world which didn't quite sell me, like they wanted it to be emotional when our main character's aunt and her boyfriend are blown up. And you really didn't feel any connection to them because you only had one scene with them, maybe two. But one of them was so small, probably, because I can barely remember it already, with them, that you just felt nothing. You really didn't see this guy in the main world at all up till that point, really. Again, just a couple scenes at the start. Literally, you'd spent 5 minutes with him, probably max. You really didn't feel any emotional attachment to that. So when things started to go down in the real world, it wasn't quite as impactful as what Spielberg probably wanted it to be. It was hard to connect with the characters in the real world, I'd definitely say. So going on to the characters, again, I'm probably going to butcher some names here, but our main character was called Parzival. And he's an okay character. Again, I really couldn't get behind this guy. That's one of my problems with the film. The main character himself, when he was in the game, he was just alright. He wasn't the most heroic character ever. He just instantly fell for the girl. And he looked like your generic hero in a game almost. He was fun, and I got behind him, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't the best hero by any means. But then in the real world, he was just not very fun at all. Not very fun at all. I actually found pretty much nearly every other main character more fun than him. He was alright. He was okay. That's literally the best I can say about his character. He was alright. And then we got Art3 Mark, Art3 Mix, something like that. That's the girl's name, her character name. Not her real name, that's her gaming character's name. And her character blew hot and cold throughout the start of the film. Well, until you see her in the real world. When you see her in the real world, obviously she starts to connect with the guy because they've got to do a love story. And then she becomes a lot more likeable in the second half of the film. But for the first half, it's like, do you trust her, do you not? I kind of like that, but then at the same time, her character was not helping. She was doing things which you were like, oh, okay, she's trying to help. And then all of a sudden she'd do something where you're like, okay, she's stabbing him in the back. Her character was just blowing hot and cold. It got a bit confusing as to whether or not we were supposed to root for her or whether she was going to turn on him. But anyway, she was a good character overall. In the real world, again, kind of same feelings as our hero. Just hard to get behind, really. She was alright. She's okay. And then we got a character called Ike. I think space or H. I think it almost sounded like he was saying in the film, Ike. Who is the big alien dude who fixes stuff. The comic relief character who was really fun in the game. I loved his voice, or her voice, I should say. Don't kick the camera. Why not? I'll kick the camera. Voice was great. Look was great. I really loved the fact that it was the big muscly character who got really scared in The Shining. Because that would probably be me. I'd probably make a pretty cool character in a game, like a Doctor Strange muscly type character. And I'd be absolutely crapping myself in The Shining. So that would probably be me. So quite relatable there, actually, which was good. Because you don't really relate to too many characters in this film. So that one was quite good. In the real world, I really like that they did go different with this character. Because I really thought the girl was going to be like that. When they met the girl in the real world, I thought she was going to be either a dude or, you know, someone who he didn't find attractive. But of course they went with the typical, you know, lovey-dovey. So I really like that with this character they went different. Not as you'd expect. And a really fun character in the real world. Again, not great, not fantastic to get behind. But, yeah, good character. And then we got Sorrento, who was the villain, who was very menacing. And he was the opposite to all the other characters. All the other characters were better in the game and not great in the real world. He was so good in the real world. You really found him menacing. You really felt like he just wanted to get them and just crush them. And in the game, he was pretty good. He was alright. Didn't do much in the game himself, because when it comes to his big finale fight in the game, he just got inside Mechagodzilla. And then the last character I'm going to talk about is Organ Morrow? I think that's how you say it. Simon Pegg's character. Yeah, didn't know when he'd turn up in this film. This is the reason I want to talk about him, because throughout the whole of the film till the end, I thought he was going to be the big villain. He was going to be the one controlling Ben Mendelsohn's character. But then he wasn't. He was popped up at the end, and he had a really nice moment. So when he was in it, he was very good, I thought. In terms of the acting, we got Tye Sheridan, playing the main character. Again, he's okay. He wasn't bad in the role, but he wouldn't be my idea for a lead actor in a big Spielberg heroic type film. Then we got Olivia Cooke, playing, of course, the female lead, and she was really good. To be fair, she done great voice acting when she was in her gaming character, and really when she was captured in Sorrento's base, well, not captured, she was in the motion suit, and you could see him getting closer to her. You could really feel her getting scared, and you really felt the tension there. So I thought she done a good job of bringing that across. And we got Leanna Waithe, who plays the comic relief character, who was good for what she was in it. I don't know if they took her voice and edited it for the actual character in the video game or not, but when she was actually in it in real life, she's done a good job. Ben Mendelsohn is amazing. He plays a fantastic villain, really, really good. Can't wait to see him as the leader of the Skrulls and Captain Marvel and other Marvel films, hopefully. I really did feel like he was playing Krennic again here a bit, but I suppose Krennic was so good, I shouldn't complain. And Simon Pegg, for the small time he was in it, he was great, especially at the end when he had that emotional scene. It was fantastic. So the directing, Steven Spielberg, you know, again, what can you say about Steven Spielberg that hasn't already been said? He's a legend, he's fantastic. Not the best directing from him, in all honesty. The pacing was great. The mixtape of soundtrack that he come up with was fantastic. There's great music in it. The balancing between the real world and the game is what he needed to improve on. Again, the film was already really long, so I understand why he probably didn't want to do too much more in the real world, but we really needed to connect with those characters more, especially in the first half of the film. And that's where I think he went wrong. But anyway, still really good directing. He done a great job. And last thing I'm going to touch on is the visuals. And the visuals, you can easily bash on the visuals and call it a John Carter or Valerian. But at the same time, I really don't want to, because it doesn't matter that they're not great, because they're going into a game. Games don't have the best. The games don't look real yet. They don't. I know they're getting close, but you know, this is the visuals were really good. They worked for this film. They weren't great all the time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to stick up for them because they weren't fantastic from start to finish. But for the majority, like 90% of this film, they were really good. They worked for the film. So yeah, out of 10, I'm gonna give Ready Player One a 7.5. 7.5 for Ready Player One. So out of 3 films I've reviewed here on this channel so far, Black Panther, Tomb Raider, and Ready Player One, it's the highest rated one so far. So that's pretty exciting. So the next review up will be Isles of Dogs. I'll try and get that up at some point this week. And then, of course, I can talk about Pacific Rim. Yay! But anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a message. I'll see you guys next time for another video.